The evil white man pollutes everything and destroys our environment. But do we really? Let's find out. They want us to think that the evil white man is responsible for the environmental disaster that we are already experiencing, and that we will experience more and more as time goes by. And I read in a newspaper the other day that some Pakistani general warned that Norway, Hungary and Great Britain were doing something terrible when they built walls to keep the refugees out. And that this would be a disaster for the future, because the future surely would bring climate wars. Wars brought by the environmental disasters that of course is brought upon the world by the evil white man. And therefore they should, instead of building walls, should prepare to open their gates and expect millions, tens of millions, even hundreds of millions of Africans and Asians coming to Europe. When I read such articles, what I see is conditioning. They are preparing the European populations for a flood of immigrants from Africa and Asia. And they try to justify it, and they justify it in advance to condition the populations, to prepare them that this is coming, it's your fault, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's just how it is. And can't build walls. You have to accept the millions and solve the problems that you, the evil white man, have caused upon this world. But in reality, Europe and even the USA is not really responsible for all of this. They want us to feel guilty. They want us to bend over and open the gates, so to speak. Oh, terrible image there, but they apparently don't want China to open the gates. They don't want India to open the gates, even though they are profiting greatly from this consumerism. They are building their nation from, the money we spend. And they are polluting the oceans. They are polluting pretty much everything. And unlike the Europeans, they don't seem to give, a shit about environmentalism. In Europe, you can't do anything, really, because everything is illegal. If you do, they will, give you at least a ticket, but probably arrest you. The environmental laws in Europe were so strict that the big capitalists actually moved their industry to China and India. So we are not really responsible. And I may add that these big capitalists, they were not Europeans. They actually have their roots in and they moved the industry to China because they could profit more from having the industry there, and because they could pollute indiscriminately, because China didn't give a shit. And in India. So, in reality, Europe is, yeah, sure, we are responsible too. We too drive cars and buy consumer shit. But in reality, we are less guilty than China. We are less guilty than India. And we are certainly less guilty than these capitalist lords, these corporate big bosses, who are responsible for pretty much all of this. But apparently we, and only we, are supposed to open our gates and let the millions of Africans and the millions of Asians flood our countries. So, my question to you, why are they not preparing India for a flood of African immigrants? Why are they not preparing China for a flood of African immigrants? Why are they not preparing Japan for a flood of immigrants? Even though, Japan alone, with the Fukushima disaster, has, probably ruined half of the Pacific, with that one incident alone. And that's not the only thing they've done. You have to understand that the mainstream media is owned by the same people who own the factories and who moved these factories to China, where they were allowed to pollute and where they could treat Chinese children like slaves and make them work 16 hours a day and sleep in closets and so forth. And they own our media. They know that they are responsible themselves. They know that they are the guilty ones. And for some reason, they want to flood our countries and make us feel responsible and take the responsibility for the disasters that they created. We, the white man, we are not responsible for this. We are as much victims as the Africans and Asians, who will suffer the consequences as well. Because we too suffer the consequences environmentally. In Europe, we have had our continent ruined by these capitalist pigs, these corporate bosses as well. And we did something to stop them, and when we did, they just took their shit and moved it to China, where they could continue polluting the ocean. And of course, the communist Chinese, they just profited and didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit about their own environment, they didn't give a shit about the Earth's environment, and they certainly didn't give a shit about their own population's welfare. So, there you have it. Point the gun in another direction. Point the cannons in another direction. Don't point fingers at the white European. We are not responsible. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.